Hello everyone, here is the OTEA. I am Raimunder. Today I have a friend. He have a show here YouTube. He is a YouTuber. And then he always want to tell people how to learn in the good English.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here in OTEA, and thank you so much to Awang for the invitation. My name is Chia-Chun, and I started my entrepreneurial journey right after graduating from NTU, from National Taiwan University. And now I'm the founder and also the CEO of YOLO Education. YOLO Education is a person startup team. We just started a business 1 year ago. And here in the meeting room, there is also our co-founder, Emily. And our company specializes in language education. And what I believe set us apart from other language education company is our focus on exploring the logic behind learning methods and uncovering the scientific principles that support them. And so today's presentation will also place a strong emphasis on this aspect. Okay. And I also run a YouTube channel, so it's called 家俊的 YOLO 生活, where I often share some strategies for efficient learning, just like Awang have introduced me, especially language learning. And in fact, Awang has also appeared on my channel before. So yeah. So I highly recommend everyone to take a look on this video. In language learning, memorization is a very, very important part of the process, especially when it comes to like memorizing vocabulary. Because if we can't remember the words, there's no point in thinking about further like listening, speaking, reading, or writing. So how can we memorize effectively and scientifically? That's the topic for today. And also, by the end of this presentation, I want to share a tool that will help you remember any information you want in the future. So first, to learn how to memorize efficiently, we first need to understand the biggest enemy of memory, which is forgetting. Okay, so in 1885, German scientist Hermann Ebbinghaus, so he's the scientist, he made an experiment. He memorized thousands of nonsense words like on the screen, like XUD, QEV, KIZ, etc. And he recorded how much he forgot over time. If we want to optimize our memory, the first we have to do is we have to know the enemy of our memory, so which is forgetting. So he's the scientist, Hermann Ebbinghaus. And in 1885, he made an experiment. He memorized thousands of nonsense words like on the screen, you can see XUD, QEV, KIZ, AST, etc. So, and also he recorded how much he forgot over time. And after the experiment, he designed something called the forgetting curve. When you ask people to memorize this certain random combination of letters, they forgot about 42% of that information in just 20 minutes. So on the chart, we can see after 20 minutes, we only retain about 58.2% of the information. And after 1 day, we only retain 33.7%. So we forgot about 66% of the information in just 1 day. And that's a lot of information we are forgetting. That means tomorrow, after this presentation, you'll have forgotten about 2/3 of the information of this presentation. And this is the reason. That's why so many people find language learning or memorizing stuff so challenging. It feels like no matter what we do, we just can't retain the information, and they end up just forgetting it anyway. But today we want to share an evidence-based and fun. It become a game. We can just play the card game about 20 minutes a day, and we can choose the information we want to put into long-term memory. Okay, so the next slide. Thank you. So if we want to maintain or retain the strength of our memory, what we need to do is we have to practice active recall. In Mandarin, it's called 回想. And active recall is a learning technique that involves we have to try to retrieve information from our memory. So we ask ourselves question about a topic or try to recall specific details and testing our ability to remember. Let's use memorize vocabulary as an example. So if I want to learn the word camera. Okay, yeah, camera. Okay, so on the front of the flashcard, we have to write camera on the front, and we have to write 相机on the back of the flashcard. So now if we want to practice active recall, we can only look at the front side. So we see camera. And now we try to recall, we try to retrieve information from our memory to recall what it means. So that is called active recall. So when it comes to memory performance, simply practicing active recall can greatly enhance efficiency. But most people don't do active recall when they try to memorize something. What people mostly do is they write like camera 相机, and they just repeat it. They just review it, reread it. They didn't do active recall. They just like camera 相机, and then try to memorize it. Okay, so the next slide. Thank you. And there have been experiments that tested the difference between retrieving by rereading and reviewing through active recall. And the data shows that memory retention with active recall is 35% higher than with simple just reviewing the data. All right. So now we know that if we want to maintain the strength of our memory, we need to do one thing, which is active recall. 主动回想. Okay, the next slide. Okay, if we visualize this, it looks like a curve where memory steadily declines over time. Yep. But every time we do a recall, we recall the information, the memory strength jumps back to 100%. Yep. Okay, but as you can see, a single recall boosts memory for just a bit, but in the long run, due to the exponential decay of memory, a single recall changes nothing. So if we just do one active recall, we will still forget the information. Right. Okay, the next one. What we need is not a single recall. What we need is repeated active recall. Okay, once we recall information multiple times, like many times, our memory retention curve changes. We can see that the rate of memory decay slows down each time, which means every time we recall the information, the information will gradually go into our long-term memory. It takes more time for our brain to forget the information. Okay, so now we know if we want to boost our memory, we need to do recall, but a single one is not enough. We need to do repeated active recall. So I believe that just knowing this, it will greatly improve your ability to memorize information. But if you really want to achieve even higher efficiency, or you want to optimize the efficiency of memory, let's keep going. To optimize our memory, we need to consciously calculate the intervals between each session of recall. Intervals means 间隔. So we need to consciously calculate the interval between each session of active recall. So here on the screen, I want to discuss a study which involves about 250 students who were asked to study 60 physiology topics. And the first group 1, didn't do any active recall at all, not even one. And group number 2 reviewed the concept and knowledge at fixed intervals, 固定间隔, fixed intervals, like 1 day, 10 days, 20 days, 30 days. So the interval maintained at 10 days. And group number 3, the next group, they use expanding intervals. So the gap of the interval is increasing. So they review after 1 day, then 6 days, and then 16 days, and then 30 days. Okay, so next one. So and then they have a test. The group that didn't do any practice test around 35%. And the group that did fixed interval test around 57%. And the last group that used expanding intervals scored 71% correct. So students who used the expanding interval method got 14% more correct answer than those with fixed intervals. Okay, so now we know that if we want to boost the memory, we have to do recall. A single one is not enough. We have to do repeated. We have to do multiple recalls. And now we also know that if we want to optimize the efficiency of memory, we need to consciously calculate the intervals between recall. But these concepts are all in theory, but practically it's very hard to, it's nearly impossible to manage, because I can spend a lot of time figuring out when the next interval should be for each piece of information. If I only have around 5 pieces of information I want to remember or memorize, it is manageable. But when I have about 100, 1,000, or even tens of thousands, it's just not feasible, not reasonable. So that brings us to the last part of today's presentation, which is Anki, as it shows. So Anki literally means memorization in Japanese. Anki means translate to Mandarin is 暗记, so it's just memory, 记忆 in Japanese. And that's exactly what Anki does. It uses the algorithm to figure out the perfect intervals for when you should recall something, so you can memorize it effectively. Anki is an app that incorporates both active recall and the spaced repetition system. So the spaced repetition system is what we have just discussed. It's the interval that is the increasing intervals. The gaps is increasing. So when you're about to forget the information, Anki will present the information to you for you to perform active recall. Okay, here is the surface of Anki. And I just press 1. Okay, if I press study now. Later. And now I have to think, what's the meaning of later? Later, 待会见. So I press show answer. Okay. Cool. Become. What's the meaning of become? Is I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Show answer. So I press again. Author. It's 作者. Okay, I press hard. So what we are doing is when we review the information using active recall, because we cannot see the back of the flashcard, we simultaneously are categorizing the information. So the algorithm will calculate the interval until the next time it prompts you to recall information. So if we press again or hard, the interval before this word reappears will be shorter. But if we press good or easy, it will take longer to show up next time. Okay, so we don't have to calculate the intervals. Anki will automatically calculate the interval for us. Question. Okay, that's how Anki works. And Anki has many different variations and functions. So besides language learning, Anki can be used in any field where you need to memorize something. So I encourage everyone here to download this app today. It's free, and start using it to remember anything you want. I have also made many videos talking about language learning and about Anki, and also I have many articles written about Anki. So if you are interested in the topic I just mentioned today, feel free to take a look on my YouTube channel and website and look for the videos about Anki. Yep, and that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chia-Chun. But in here, everybody any question want to speak in?
I fully agree. Do you recommend any to learn? Yeah, Anki. So I saw a question from Oliver Banana. a very cool name. Yeah, I really recommend Anki, but I don't know if anyone have children. because Anki is quite, I would say, uh, not very user friendly, and sometimes it could be very boring. And if children want to use the method to memorize stuff or prepare for the test, I recommend another app. It's called Quizlet. Quizlet, Quizlet. So I think the algorithm of Quizlet is not as good as Anki, but the is very user friendly, and it made it more like a game. So children would be more willing to use it. To this question, my colleague would like to learn English, but she doesn't have courage to speak in front of foreigners. In my learning method, I sometimes separate different steps. So in the learning step in A2, I don't recommend like immediately try to speak to foreigners, because then we don't have enough knowledge or we don't have enough vocabulary to speak. So in A2 phases, I recommend like listen to a lot of podcasts and try to memorize as many words as you can use the Anki. And I think about when your vocabulary, you have about 3,000 to 5,000 vocabulary, that's the good point to start to speak English. And she if she doesn't have the courage to speak in front of foreigners, I recommend an app called Speak. Speak is an AI app, but you have to pay for the app. I do believe, and I also agree that there are so many ways to learn English, and I think the best way to learn English is not active recall. Is to find a way you're really enjoying and you can learn something. But active recall is when I discover this technique, it really boosts my efficiency. But I do believe that if someone don't like it, because like I said, Anki is sometimes very boring or it's sometimes very challenging. I have did a challenge on my YouTube channel before. I spent like 100 days to learn Italian, and in these 100 days, some days I have to spend like 2.5 hours or maybe 3 hours to use Anki, and it's very, very tiring. So not everyone are used to this kind of method, but I truly use this method to learn Italian in just 100 days. So I really believe in this memory technique. For example, if my father want to go to go travel by himself without any translator, what he needs is he doesn't have to memorize like 7,000 vocabulary or maybe 10,000 vocabulary. He just have to memorize like 3,000 vocabulary and he can just go on a trip. What you need to practice is speaking. But if another student, they want to pass the exam of TOEIC. Okay, TOEIC only tests like reading and listening. They don't even test writing and speaking. So in their preparation, it will be very different from the preparation of my father's. He not only have to memorize 3,000 words, he has to memorize 5,000 words or 6,000 words. But he doesn't have to spend any time on speaking the language, because his goal is to pass the TOEIC test. Did I answer the question? So in the YOLO learning method, I have a big direction, but with everyone we have to. I don't know how to say the English of 微调, the learning method.
Fine tune. Is it?
Adjust a little adjust.
Fine tune the learning path.
So in the YOLO learning method, in the most beginners part, I only try to learn the alphabet and the phonics sound, like A, B, B, C, K. I don't watch any movies, because watching movie or listening to podcasts is too hard for the beginners to learn English. They wouldn't be able to pick up anything from listening to podcasts or watching movies, watching English movies. There's a concept called comprehensible input in language learning, and a doctor just say that this concept is the most important concept in any language learning. And Comprehensible input means that when we input information like reading or listening information, we have to understand. We have to understand what it is talking about. So we can like acquire some knowledge, we can acquire some vocabulary from the context. But if I'm just in the beginner step and I watch like four English movies, it just like it's just too far and it's just like nonsense to me. I don't understand anything. So I wouldn't be able to acquire any information or any vocabulary from the movies. Okay. So step one is I would just learn the alphabet and the Phoenix sound A, I, B, B. And step two, I would learn English with Chinese help. So like on YouTube, there are many videos that are teaching English, but they use Mandarin to help you. They use Mandarin to explain the grammar. So this is step two. And then step three, I would try to learn English, but the content is designed for English learners, but they didn't use like Mandarin or other language to assist you. They just use English to teach you, but they will speak slowly, and the word they use will be easier because it's for language learning. And then the last step is we can just watch any movies or listen to podcasts, whatever we want. And in that phase, you can learn and acquire vocabulary from those stuff. But in the beginning, you just can't. So we can sometimes people with good English ability will teach us like you just watch more movie, you just immerse yourself into English environment. But in my opinion, I think it's a very, very bad method for people who are just English learner in their beginning phases. Like even in Mandarin or in Chinese, we have different words for the same thing, like 脚踏车 and 单车. So it's very good to use different words to express the same information. And I also want to share a quote. It's from the podcast. It's called I forgot the podcast name. Okay, I would just share the quote. They say English is not about perfection, it's about connection. And I really like this quote. English is just a tool for us to connect. It's not like we have to speak perfect English.
So I'm interested in your beginning because I don't know why you want to maybe do the YouTuber, maybe do the how to teach everyone to learn English.
In college, I majored in political science, so it's just yeah. But I don't like political science. All I like is language learning. I have never lived in an English speaking country for more than 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So I learn English or I learn Spanish. I also speak Spanish and a bit of Korean, and like I said, Italian. And I learned all this language just in Taiwan. So I have never been in an immersive environment in like America or England or Australia. So I truly believe that with the power of internet or internet connection, we can learn English wherever you want. So I can learn English, Spanish, Italian just in Taiwan. But what I see in college or in everyone learning English, people in Taiwan are really good at taking exam. Like I did. I'm very good at. I was very good at taking exam, but I didn't know how to speak English. But I really want to speak it. I don't want English is just a way to have high score, but I can express my feeling or I can connect with others. I was inspired by the quote I just shared. Is English is not about perfection; it's about connection. So in that way, I study a lot about how to learn a language efficiently and how to really speak the language. And I just share all the information I have learned on YouTube. Yeah. So I would say I am still learning, and I'm just documenting all the stuff I have learned along the way.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you very much. This is Zhang Kai-Chun. Actually, I live in Japan.
Okay.
Today I'm very excited. This is my child. This is my child. Actually, I'm very excited to listen to this very interesting information, and I would like to echo two things, two very interesting things. The first one is about the Anki. Anki, you say that is Japanese. So I'm wondering that if we can use this Anki, the app, right?
Yeah.
To study like Japanese or even mathematics.
Yeah.
Can. Oh, okay, good.
I'm now learning Japanese with Anki. So
Okay, good. Why I ask this because now you have a Japanese name. I mean Anki. So that's more what matching.
right.
Yeah, matching the name if we study Japanese by Anki. That's a very interesting idea. Yeah, and the second point I would like to echo is that actually my children, they are the first year in Japanese elementary school, and then I found that they deliver a mathematics card, calculation card in their elementary school the first year. I'm not sure if I can show that clearly.
Yeah, it's very clear.
Probably that's in opposite in direction, right? So the at the front they have a equation, and then at the back they have the answer. So they were asked to study that every day. So that's probably the same the same concept or the same idea, the same theory that support your development of the APP or even some more formal education.
Yeah, I think it's the same. But in mathematics, I think it's more about the logical thinking. It's not about memorizing. So when they see the equation 3 plus 2, I think they are not like basically just memorizing like 3 points plus 2 equal 5. They're not they're calculating. So
yeah, probably for the simple calculations, we need some memory. I think.
Right.
Yeah, because later probably they are going to study more advanced mathematics or calculations. They need this
based on
fundamental.
this memorization.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the second thing I would like to echo. Probably it could be a good material, a very good materials, and also formal materials for your future presentations and to promote your APP.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Besides the two echoes, I have one question. That is also given in the chatting box. That's about what? About the you show a decay curve, right? For getting decay curve, and that's the data for the adult or even for children.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because
honestly, I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Probably because you show some scientific data, right? So probably there must be some very
variation,
very academic
and children
background like that. So probably for I believe for children and for adults, we have a different decaying curve.
Right.
So that we have to recall that in different periods.
Right. So in the app of Anki, you can change the I don't know how to say 参数. How do you say 参数?
Parameter?
Yeah. We can change it. But I don't know whether there's for children.
Okay.
Yeah. Because my channel usually share method for adult. Like I don't think it's a very useful app for children because it's too boring and challenging.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, especially for adults, if we study the language, usually we use our native background to study the second language. Yeah, but for children, they don't have the native language yet, so they study in a different pattern.
Oh,
right. Like you say, camera, and they don't know what is camera in Chinese actually. They don't know 相机 the term. They have no idea. Yeah, you know. Yeah, so probably different pattern, I believe. So it also depends on the decaying curve, how long we have to recall, and I'm not sure that's used for children, or I don't know, for all the age or any limitations, any conditions like that?
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I don't know the answer, but I know there are a lot of study about how to change the modifier.
Okay.
The modifier big. So I can share. This one, Anki. He also made a lot of videos about Anki on YouTube, and he talks very deep on all the modifiers. So maybe he will have some video about how to modify it for children. Anki is called Anki.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay.